Greetings, I'm Professor K, and in this short video presentation, we're going to see how we go about installing Python and PyCharm to Windows 10. For this video demonstration, I have created a virtual install of Windows 10 up inside of VirtualBox. And if we go up here to Devices and we look at my network settings, you'll see that I have configured my network adapter up in VirtualBox to use NAT. That's because I'm going to need to access the internet. The use of a virtual machine is optional. You can install Python and PyCharm onto your host machine. I don't disagree with it, but I like to be able to roll back and reinstall if I need to without having any effect onto my host operating system, and therefore I'm going to use a virtual machine. Additionally, I have created a snapshot of my Windows 10 installation up inside of VirtualBox as a clean install. And that way, if I have a problem at any time, I can always roll back to that point in time and then reinstall Python and PyCharm without having to rebuild my virtual machine. So the first thing we're going to do is download Python. Now to do this, I'm just going to launch a browser. And up here inside of the search window, I'm just going to type in download Python. I'm going to hit enter. Make sure that you download Python from the actual distributor for Python, that is python.org. Don't be going anywhere else and downloading it, and especially do not be going to the Microsoft Store and downloading Python for Windows. That is the wrong version. So up here we see we have download Python at python.org. We can go ahead and click on that. That's going to take us out to the download location for Python. Here it's going to go ahead and detect that I am running Windows, and I can click on the download button to download Python 3.8.5. Here we have the option to either run it or to save it. I'm going to go ahead and do a save, and in just a moment we'll be able to run Python and install it onto my Windows 10 machine. And Python has completed its download. I'm going to go ahead and run. Now when you run Python, you have to watch your taskbar down at the bottom of your Windows screen, because it's going to open in the back of the browser that we currently have open. So go down here to your taskbar, click it to bring it forward. So the first thing we're going to do here is read everything that's given to us. We're going to install Python 3.8.5, 32-bit, that's fine. We don't need to worry about the 64-bit because 32-bit runs just fine on a 64-bit hardware. Now go down here and check this box to add Python 3.8 to the path. That's a variable that we have in Windows. Make sure that we have that checked. It's going to be important, because if we don't have it checked, when we get ready to install PyCharm, then it won't be able to find Python where it is installed onto this Windows 10 machine. Then you can go back up here, and now you can click where it says install now. Go ahead and accept the user account control and click yes, and it now begins the installation process. Now once the installation process has completed, on this next screen here, you have an option to disable path length limit. Now this is very interesting because in Windows 10 or in Windows, you have a maximum path length of 260 characters. So you want to disable this. So go ahead and click on that option there to go ahead and disable that limit to the name length of an item. Go ahead and click yes to the user account control, and now you can go ahead and click close. Now what you can do to see if you actually have Python installed is you can bring up a command prompt. To do this, I'm going to type in CMD at the search bar, and I'm going to select command prompt, bring that up, and I'm going to type in Python space -- version. Once you have that, just go ahead and hit enter, and it comes up and it lets you know that Python 3.8.5 is currently installed. So let's click on this back button. Let's go to the search window one more time, and up here in the search field we're going to type in download PyCharm. Hit enter. Now there's only one place you can download this from, and that is from jetbrains.com. Do not download it from anywhere else, because it may not be what you think it is. Go ahead and click on the link. It's going to take you on out to the download site. And here you have either the professional version or the community version. Now for everything that we're going to do in Python, the community version works just fine. So let's go ahead and select the community version and click on download. Down here at the bottom, you want to go ahead and click on save. And once the download for PyCharm has completed, we can go ahead and run the program. Again, you've got to watch your taskbar down here at the bottom of your Windows screen because it will load up behind the browser. We're all done with the browser. We can go ahead and close this out. Go ahead and launch. And here it wants to use the user access control to ask us if we want to allow the program to run. We'll say yes. On this first screen, we can go ahead and click next. On this next screen, we can go ahead and click next. And here we're going to check some boxes. We want to check the box for the 64-bit launcher. And we want to check the box to create associations for .py. And we're going to click the box up here to update path variable. And that's why we needed to let Python know that we wanted to load it into the path for our Windows operating system so that PyCharm can find it. We're going to go ahead and click next. And we're going to go ahead and install. We're going to go ahead and reboot now. Go ahead and select that option. Go ahead and click finish. When we come back up, we will continue on with configuring PyCharm to work with our installation of Python. My Windows 10 machine is back up and I have a shortcut on my desktop for PyCharm. I'm going to go ahead and double click it. And since this is the first time we've launched PyCharm, we have to agree to the privacy policy. Let's go ahead and check that box and let's click continue. On this next box, we're going to either allow or not allow our data to be shared with JetBrains. I'm going to go ahead and check the box don't send, and that's going to launch PyCharm. On this first window here, we have to select our theme. I'm going to go ahead and keep the dark theme and select next for featured plugins. Now I'm going to go ahead and not install any additional plugins because none are necessary. And I'm going to click the button that says Start Using Python. On this next screen here, since we don't have a project, we have the option to create a new project, and that's what we're going to do. So I can create a new project, I can open a project, or I can use GitHub to control the versioning of my projects. That's pretty much an advanced topic that will not be covered in this short presentation. But we can go ahead and click on where it says New Project. On this next screen, we have to tell PyCharm what interpreter that it's going to be using. It's going to be using Python, but we have to tell it. So we have to go down here. We have to tell it to use an existing interpreter. So let's go ahead and check that radio button. Let's scroll on over here and over to the right. We're going to click on that Browse button. And on the next screen, we're going to click on where it says System Interpreter. And here you see that we have the path for our Python program. We're going to go ahead and leave that as it is and click OK. That's going to take us back to the previous script. Give it a moment. It's going to load the interpreter that we chose. We're going to go ahead and click on Create. This is going to be our first project. And now our first project will begin to load. Unless we tell PyCharm otherwise, every time we open it or we go into a previous project or a new project, it will give us the tips of the day. So we can go ahead and either allow this to run, we can go to the next tip, or we can close it. I can go ahead and close it here. And then later on, if I need to get the tips back, I can just go to Help and select that option for tip of the day. At this point, we need to go ahead and allow PyCharm to complete its indexing of Python 3.8 so that we don't get asked about our system interpreter every time we start a new project. We can go ahead and set our current system interpreter as the default. To do this, we're going to go up to File, and here I'm going to scroll on down till we come to New Project Settings. Over here on New Project Settings, I'm going to select the option for Settings for New Projects. Go ahead and click on that. In the left window pane of our new screen, let's go ahead and click on Python Interpreter. Now over here on the right window pane, you're going to pull down this window here and you're going to select the current interpreter that we are using, which is Python 3.8. Go ahead and select that. Give it a second, and now then it's going to load some more information about the package and the version that is currently using. Once you have that done, go ahead and just select Apply and select OK. With each new project that we create using PyCharm, we have a new file that is created for us. This is the main file, and it is called main.py. Now in this file over here, you can see that over to the right, in the right window pane, we already have some sample Python script that has been placed in there for us. So if we click on where it says main.py, that's going to load whatever script that we currently have, and we can rename this file. You can rename it to anything you want. You don't have to live with the main.py, and we can also rename the project to anything we want just by right-clicking on it and selecting Rename Project. Now over here on the right window pane, we again have a small default Python script that we can run. Now to run this Python script, it's very easy. Once you have everything typed in, you just go up here and click on the Run button. Now we also have some things in here that are of interest, and these are these comments. And these are lines that are not going to be seen when the project is actually ran. These are just comments put in by the developer, letting you know who the developer is or what the program is supposed to do or how best to run the program. So if we go over here and we click on this Run button, you'll notice that it comes up and it runs the script for us, and down here at the bottom we get the results. So that script that we were looking at was nothing more than a print screen option that said print the following line to the console, and the line that it was to print said, "Hi, PyCharm." The default location for all your PyCharm projects is going to be up inside of your user profile. Now to get to it, you just open up File Explorer, and then you're going to click on where it says Local Disk C. Here you're going to click on Users. Here you're going to find your current profile that you're logged on as. Mine's right here. I'll go ahead and click on that, and I'll scroll on down until I come to the PyCharm projects. I'll go ahead and click on that, and inside here I have another folder called Python project, and that is the Python project that we first created when we first loaded PyCharm. Now you notice here that you don't see any of the file extensions. You may want to see these file extensions to make sure that you have a Py file. To do this, just go to View, and over here to the right you can check this box where it says File Name Extensions. Once you click that box, the file extensions will show for all your files. Now to close this project, we can just go up here to File, and we can select Close Project. That brings you back to the first screen. Now notice that when we see this screen, that over on the left will be any current projects that we've been working with, and if we don't want those projects here anymore, we can just right click up here, and we have a number of options. Open selected, New Project Group, Copy Path, remove the selected from the welcome screen. Now again, we can start a new project just by going over here and selecting the New Project button. Let's go ahead and do that. Now we can give our project a user-friendly name. I'm going to call this My First Project. We do not want to create a main.py welcome script, so let's go ahead and uncheck that box. We're next going to just click on where it says Create, and in just a moment it's going to load our first project. Every project has to have a Python file. To do this, we're just going to right click on where it says the name of the project, and from the context menu we're going to select New, and from there we're going to select Python File. Here we're going to give this file a user-friendly name. I'm going to call this Hello World. Once you have the name correctly typed in, go ahead and just hit Enter. And now your file is over inside of the left-hand window pane. At the same time, over here in the right window pane, you now have the ability to type in your Python code. Now since this is an empty project and I don't have any access to the Run button, to get access to the Run button, I'm going to have to right click inside this window here, and I'm going to have to say Run Hello World one time. That's going to bring up the Run command, and I'll also be able to get the console window to come up at the same time. Now we're ready to type in some code. In this simple bit of code, what I've done is I've used the print command, and I've told it to print out the following message to my terminal, which is welcome to my first Python project. So when I go over here and I click on the Run button, down here at the bottom, you'll see that it says, "Welcome to my first Python project." So you can see that no matter if I type in the code or I go get the code from the internet, as long as I place it into the main file for my Python project, I can run that particular piece of code and see if it works just by examining the results down here in my console window. Here I'm at the Python wiki site. If I scroll down here to the bottom, there's a game that is all coded for me, and I can copy this just like this. I'm just going to copy the code like so. I'm going to go back on over here to my PyCharm. I'm going to delete this line. And then I'm going to right click and just paste that in here. Now when I go ahead and I run this, it's as if I actually put the code in myself, because the code, regardless of where you get it, can be run just by copying and pasting it into the right window pane of PyCharm. Let's just go ahead and run this real quick. And it comes up and it asks me, what is my name? I'll type in my name. So after I type in my name, I just hit enter, and it comes back and it asks me, well, Cliff, I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 20. Take a guess. All right, I'll say 15. I'll hit enter. Your guess is too high. And it tells me to take another guess. I said, okay, so I'll type in 10. Your guess is too low. Take a guess. Okay, so I'll try 12. All right, I'll try 14. And it tells me that I guessed the number in 4 guesses. All right, so that's a simple little game that was built using Python code. But you can go back in here, you see, and you can actually take a look at this code and figure out how this output from the code was generated to the console. A lot of print commands going in there, and a lot of if commands. And this is one of the great things about Python coding, is that it does make sense if you just look at it and read it and try to understand what the code is doing. And so that's going to conclude the short video presentation on how we go about installing Python and the IDE for using Python, PyCharm. So if you have any questions or you have any concerns, please don't hesitate to reach out, contact your instructor, and I'll see you in my next video.